Welcome to the Principal Podcast, where we talk about how the best professional services firms grow. Whether you're looking to scale your firm or learn from the stories of founders and leaders who've done it, you're in the right place. Join us as we interview the best leaders in professional services. Let's get on with the show.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're very fortunate to have Alan Melton, who is the owner of Small Business Coach and Associates, on with us today. As a guest, Alan's very fascinating. He's really done a lot of unique things. He's acquired businesses, he's owned businesses, and he's sold multiple businesses. But now he's a coach, and we're going to find out the reason and the rationale behind that and share our journey with Alan. So we welcome Alan on the show today. Alan, one of the things that we always want to know about our clients is how did their journey start and how did it end up where you're at right now? So share with us how you decided to become a coach after owning multiple businesses, selling them. Tell us your story.
Yeah, great question. And it is a bit of a long story. I'll
That's okay.
try to brief it up as much as I can.
Okay.
But a lot of what I've done has been informed by my early childhood experience. I experienced childhood trauma when I was 5, and then a threat on my life shortly thereafter. And for those people that have experienced trauma, there's this numbness that can come about as a result of kind of a defense shield that information that comes in, ugly information that can come in, and so your body develops kind of a shield to filter out some of that. As a result, I grew up and continued traumatic experiences through about age 15. And at nighttime, my father was an abusive alcoholic, and it was pretty ugly at night. But in the daytime, the good news was that I didn't have a lot of structure. And so I had lots of adventures, lots of fun. And during the daytime, got into lots of trouble and didn't do that great in school. But it was an interesting experience growing up. And thanks. So as a 15-year-old, I began to run away at about age 14. And one night I was sitting up at the park in the middle of the night. This guy comes by, walking his dog, and, shares this story about me, or about his life and about faith. And that conversation led me to a conversation with a friend of mine who lived nearby. And he said, "Alan, you ought to come play on our church baseball team." And to play on the team, you had to go to church one Sunday a month and be part of this kind of a Christian boys club. Mm-hmm. And things got worse at home instead of better. I ended up without a place to live, and I ended up with 2 families that took me in and raised me that last few years of my childhood. And I saw a glimpse of that loving environment. And then the second family that took me in were very successful, and they were into personal development. And they shared 2 books with me. One was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And then secondly, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. And those books really laid, along with my faith, laid a foundation in my life where I began to, get a vision of what my life was going to look like. And pretty soon I was running a lumber company with the largest store that they had in the South through a manager trainee program. Soon thereafter, started a business, and we started from scratch with 2 of us, myself and a partner, and grew it to 130 employees and sold it to a publicly held company. And then what I'd call 2 other, we were fortunate to win several awards, Inc. Magazine's 500 Fastest Growing Companies, Small Business Person of the Year, and then finally the Sterling Award for Organizational Performance Excellence. And those 3 awards really helped prepare me unknowingly, for business coaching. And therefore I had 2 more, challenging situations, I face the owner's trap, and we talk a lot about that. As a matter of fact, we're starting a podcast called Beyond the Owner's Trap.
Okay.
But the first trap for me was that I was working so hard, so many hours, and just worn out to a point that I made myself sick and was diagnosed with an illness. And from that, I was able to learn I could back off and, take care of myself instead of just working myself to death.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one, where I was going through another illness, challenging experience, and was able to really, through faith, get beyond that. And we're at a kind of a dangerous point after we moved into a brand new facility, and had an economic dip. And anyway, was able to rally the team around. And just only about 4 years later, we sold the business to a publicly held company. And so we were able to go through that challenge. All of those things that I was involved with, I was teaching a class in my church to business people. And I began to realize that, I did have a knack for business, but I also began to have a knack for helping other business owners. And that led to founding Small Business Coach Associates in 2002, and been doing it ever since.
Oh my goodness, that is quite a story and quite a journey. So from your youth and your childhood, overcoming all those obstacles, to me, it's personally amazing. And then to be able to take that, have the strength to start new ventures and have success, I imagine you learned some key things in there that help you now with business coaching today. Part of your life is a critical part of what you now teach people on how to overcome, I would say, adversity. And you definitely have done that. So congratulations on that part. Tell me today, what do you think you do as a coach to help people solve problems, and why is that important to you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, in the part of selling our business, we created a program. We actually had an offer that we couldn't turn down, but the publicly held company said, look, if you can increase your profits by $1 million over the next 2 years, we will pay you twice. And I kind of like that.
No kidding.
Yeah. And so I brought my team together, and I told them, look, if you can help us grow our business by $1 million over the next 2 years, we're going to give you $1 million. And then around that, I had this, personal development has been so instrumental in my life. And I realized where I came from. And I had this belief that no matter who you are, if I can do it, you can do it, no matter trauma, no matter where you were born, no matter your race, no matter your gender, you can do it through personal development. And so what I did during the due diligence time, one of the interviewers asked me, Alan, what keeps you up at night? And
Good question.
Yeah, good question. And maybe he was looking for a skeleton in the closet or whatever. But I thought about it, and I said, really what keeps me up at night is the fact that all of us have the ability to grow personally if we'll go through that, process of, improving ourselves. And one of my favorite speakers is Jim Rohn, and he's now deceased, but he said that a formal education will get you a job, but personal development will get you a fortune. And so I had a passion for my team. We had about 130 employees at that time, and I wanted them to experience some of the benefits that I had received. And of course, in doing so, you're building the value of the company as you're,
Sure.
growing your employees. And so we, over the next 2 years, focused on nothing but that $1 million. And everybody was involved, senior managers all the way down to our drivers and everybody in the organization. We were brainstorming how to get that to that $1 million.
It's fabulous.
long story longer is we hit the goal. We paid him the $1 million. My first thought was, man, we should have done this 5 years ago.
And or said 2 million was a target. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But anyway, that's so. Anyway, I had that passion. I'd also read the book, The E-Myth, and I thought it was amazing book, great great story, great concept. But I felt like that there were some some bones to the skeleton that were missing. I like the big picture, but I figured
Okay.
I thought that with my experience and we started and grown and acquired 15 companies at that point, and thought that, hey, look, if I believe I could work with small business owners and help them, give them the detail and the practical advice to get to where their goals and dreams were.
So you look at what you've done, you've learned from your history as an individual, you then learn from your business strategy. And I love the offering the million for them when the company said, if you want to do that, we'll match it. And again, you look back in hindsight, like you said, that's something I should have done for a lot of companies I work with. But more importantly, I like the fact that you gave a goal and you worked together as a unit to get that goal achieved. And you learned all that from your previous life, all your experiences. So with that being said, who is your ideal customer today? When you go out to try and sell your services as a coach in the small business associates business, who are the customers you are pursuing currently that will best benefit from what you offer?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've avoided a lot of the wisdom around that and going after a specific niche because I do enjoy the variety of different kinds of businesses and challenges, and there are a lot of things through multiple businesses that are in common to achieve success. But I'd say that we're primarily focused now on blue collar and some white collar service based businesses there, and for the most part, they're serving a local market. We do have several consultants that are national and several clients that are national as well. And so it doesn't all fit neatly into a box, but I'll say the majority of the business owners that we serve now are in a local area serving a local client base, and there's
So local
service.
geography.
That's right.
No,
Yeah.
are you based in the South, Alan?
We're based in Western Carolina, but we serve clients nationwide.
Okay. But when you then go after your customer, for example, they may be someone in Raleigh and you want to make sure that Raleigh, Durham, that whole area, Chapel Hill would be a market where you have someone who could be a client and they cover that triad area. Would I be correct?
Yeah, actually, all of our coaching is virtual. We do it all via Zoom session,
Right.
and therefore we can coach a business owner anywhere on the planet. As a matter of
Right.
fact, we recently had a business owner in Hong Kong that we serve, and so really we're not limited by geography.
No, what I meant is when you said you wanted to go after people who service their local area, so you would have someone who's a client who was when you're working with you, then again, they could be, let's take it in California, they could be in Modesto, Stockton, that general area, Fresno, and that Central Valley market. So you want to have someone who's going to cover that geography, and then you're going to teach them how to be more efficient as a small business owner. Would that be what I'm hearing?
That's right. They're serving their local market, maybe HVAC company or trades, a remodeler. Uh, we do have some exceptions to that. As a matter of fact, one of my best stories is a guy who owns a security company. He's based in Naples, Florida, and his business is based in Chicago. He founded it in Chicago and then about 5 years ago moved to Naples. But when he started just, I think 13 months ago, he was doing 3 million. By the end of the year, he was at 6 million.
Wow.
And by April, he was at 9 million. And he's just growing like
It's
crazy.
fabulous.
So, and he's nationwide.
So you've helped him obviously not just be limited to the geography where he resides or where he started his business. Now he expands it anywhere. Okay, wonderful. So when people hear about your company, how do they do that? So do they do it through a social media campaign? They do it through you guys go on to LinkedIn in a particular area and you want to expand through that method business wise? Is it emails that you send out to target clients? Or is it just referrals?
Yeah, great question. I would say all of the above. We Fortunately, I had one of the top digital marketers on the planet who served us through a small business owner division. And a few months into it, I realized that we were not getting what was promised. And I've seen this theme happen again and again. But the good that came out of it was I said, look, I'm just going to learn this stuff myself. And so at that time, we had about 100, we were getting about 100 visits a month. And over the next couple of years, we were able to grow it to about 24,000 visits a month to our website.
Wow.
And that helped us to scale. And there are still some, I guess you might call it some ghosts or shadows of SEO that's left today.
Right.
And, now it's changed, as you are well aware.
Dramatically.
Yeah, now it's the next iteration is now, the LLMs, being positioned in front of AI search engines when now they're searching. We're all lazy. We're going to go do the quickest we can. And so those search engines are gaining more and more influence. And so we've been careful to do that. Not perfectly. We've had our mistakes along the way, and I'm sure you're going to ask me about those pretty soon.
Pretty quick. But anyway, when you look at it, you think about the challenges that you face. But before I get to some of how you overcame them, your client, you go to a customer, and is it usually the owner? And what's the employee size that you like to target for your customers?
Yeah, good question. It is the owner, and it's small business owners, and employee base would be anywhere from 3 up to 150.
Okay.
So it's pretty wide base. And if you look at revenue, it's kind of the same way. We start at somewhere in the 20,000 a month range up to about $1 million a month.
Okay, so the decision-making process when you go directly to those people in those size organizations is a bit more streamlined. I mean, you're not having to go through a whole bunch of corporate and RFPs and things like that. You can actually deal with the person you want to deal with. What's the decision-making cycle? When you contact someone who's responded to one of your methods of contact, you reach out to them, you get an appointment. What's it look like from when you initiate a conversation to when they initiate working with you? What's that time frame?
Yeah, it depends. It really varies whether it's inbound or outbound. If it's inbound, somebody that found us via social media or received, maybe they got on our subscriber list and they've been receiving content, or they're watching a YouTube or podcast, then it can be as quick as 2-3 days.
Wow, okay. And then if they haven't, you outbounded to them to initiate the conversation. You've got to cultivate the relationship. What's that time frame look like?
It's been as long as 2-3 years.
Okay. But the persistence is critical, that you follow up and you do all the right things. I imagine they want references and they want testimonials of what you've done somewhere else. So
That's right.
when you think about what you're doing currently in your business development, you mentioned a couple times podcasts. So what role are podcasts playing for you to help you get your message out?
Yeah, good question. Now, this is new for us. And, I was talking with my buddy Claude and, talking about kind of the next, the next thing to focus on. And we decided that, podcasts are a great way to appear before the LLMs as well as, real human traffic. And so I'll say I did my first podcast Beyond the Owner's Trap this week. And
Congratulations.
thanks. And this would be maybe my fourth guest appearance on a podcast.
How do you like it so far?
It's fun.
Yeah.
I really do enjoy it, both sides. I, kind of sat in your shoes on Wednesday, and it was fascinating. I've still got a lot to learn and to grow with that, but really did enjoy that process of sitting with them and interviewing them. And it's not a lot different than interviewing a prospective client.
Customer, exactly.
Yeah.
It's similar principles, exactly right. So as you look at the challenges ahead of you, from the lessons you've learned and the things that you know you have to overcome to grow your business now, what are the biggest challenges you see ahead for you in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I do think that it's a variety of things, for me, it's staying on top of emerging technology, in particular the LLMs, so that I can help my clients, adjust to the changing marketing environment. Small business owners, for the most part, even if we get them, by the way, we take our clients through what we call the 7 stages to business freedom. And that begins with the startup stage.
Right.
Many businesses after startup, if you're really good with marketing, most businesses will fall down into what we call the chaos stage. But now you got more on your plate than you could say grace over.
Right.
And then from there, a business may move up to break even. And in that stage, you're kind of working on pricing and rudimentary systems. And for businesses that stay in those lower stages for a long period of time, they'll enter into burnout, where you're just ready to quit, go back to your corporate job,
Right.
do something else. I've had it, and but we call those lower stages the owner's trap. That's where business owners end up in this trap where the business owns them. EMF, talks about that concept, and therefore, if we can help the business owner to learn to let go of some things, to delegate, maybe find less expensive alternatives out there to onboard people that are affordable and the right people that are going to stay with you, then they can move into profitability stage. And in that stage, you're leaning down your operations, you continue to build your team. That next stage is success, stage 6, where you're starting to make an impact on your local community. Maybe you're winning an award, or you're getting positive press about the impact that you're making with your
You're seeing the results.
yeah, and starting to see results, and you're building that team, which gets you to the final stage, which is the freedom stage. And at that stage, you could leave your business for 6 months, and when you return back, it'd be doing better than it was when you left it, because you've built a predictable machine that is no longer dependent on you as the business owner. And so you've got choices. You can sell for the maximum terms and price. You can start another venture, start a nonprofit, be with your family more. You've got options at that point.
Love that. I mean, yeah, the key that what I try and tell people is, as a quality manager, you're only as good as bringing somebody up to replace yourself. And the minute you've done that and cultivated your inner organization to have someone who can take over for you, then you can grow and go to the next level yourself within a corporate structure. As a personal owner, I would agree that it gives you that freedom. So very similar aligned thinking. I like that. So when you look at the future for you and how you can get to the growth you want to get to, what are the biggest obstacles to your growth that you see for the future ahead?
Yeah, I guess the present obstacle that we are experiencing, and we've made some progress, but we're not completely out of it, is with that SEO, without going into too much detail, we did a redesign about a year ago with the purpose of getting in front of the LLMs, and the age of the site and the transition from HTTP to HTTPS and thousands of pages. We have actually, we're fortunate to be named the top business blog for small business, and so as a result, we got about 3,000 blog posts. So great resources for small business owners, but the redirects, from the HTTP to HTTPS,
Right.
created kind of a tangled mess, and it took us a while to figure it out and then unravel it. And I'll just say it was kind of with Ahrefs, is kind of playing whack-a-mole. You hit one thing, then something else pops up on the other side. But and then there's been more of it, that we fix one thing and then we'll have a problem with another thing. What's been good with that is that we have been more intentional about our other marketing legs on the stool, and so we've been getting really good at getting clients through other means. Obviously, referrals has been great. We've got long-term clients. Actually, a client with us 9 years, one 8 years, one 7 years, and several over 5 that stay with us. So we're thankful for that. But then the referrals that come from those great clients are
Correct.
awesome. And then
Yeah.
social media, getting better with engagement, and and now podcasting, just getting in front of people. Started a YouTube channel. All
Good.
the things that help us not only with human visitors but with LLMs.
Well, you know what? You got a great plan, Alan, and it looks like you're really putting together something special. And it all started off with what you would not call a great start to your life. And you figured it out, got over it, which I applaud you, because I know people who've had similar adversity, not maybe to the level you've had, but it kept them down, and they never really got over that next barrier. They had all issues regarding why it wouldn't work. But you had support, 2 families who came in, helped you see what the value really could be and the opportunity, then you took advantage of it. So I commend you dramatically in how you've grown your business. Our time is up. We're 30 minutes. It went by just like that, Alan, and I enjoyed our conversation. And I think you've shared things with the audience that'll make them understand why it's important to contact you going forward. So tell us, what's the best way for people to reach out and have you engage with them as we go forward here in 2026 and into the future?
Well, thank you. You can certainly do a search on my name, Alan Melton, and if you put business coach with it, there's a good chance you may find us. The name of our company is Small Business Coach Associates, and our web address is smallbusinesscoach.org.
Okay. Alan, we've enjoyed it. Thank you for your time today. You have a wonderful day. And for the audience, look up Alan. It's worth your time and worth the adventure to go ahead and bring his company in. Thank you, Alan, for your time.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Principal Podcast. We hope you've learned valuable lessons and strategies to grow your firm and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.